GMNA uses artificial intelligence for generated speech, visuals, and production. AI-generated content may contain errors. Please verify important information before making decisions or taking action.
Here are our top stories.
SDM will withdraw the Mr. 73 fleet from the Blue Line, keeping the aging cars on the Green Line because the new control system is incompatible. The move follows the Blue Line's modernization. Simon Fortier has the full story.
The Société de Transport de Montreal confirmed that the aging Mr. 73 train fleet will remain on the Green Line and be withdrawn from the Blue Line. Engineers found the new automated control system on the Blue Line cannot communicate with the older Mr. 73 technology, forcing the reassignment. The Green Line currently carries the network's oldest rolling stock, and the SDM's modernization of the Blue Line means those trains will continue serving commuters on the Green Corridor. Officials said the decision avoids costly retrofits and keeps service levels stable while the Blue Line upgrades proceed. The move reflects the agency's effort to balance modernization with existing equipment constraints. Simon Fortier, GMNA News, Montreal.
Police arrested a 76-year-old woman with Alzheimer's at a private seniors residence after she allegedly assaulted other residents. Officers handcuffed her and placed her in a downtown detention cell, where she spent the night before being released to medical care. The incident, reported late Thursday night, sparked immediate criticism from advocacy groups. Hugo Lavoie of the Association des Comités de Résidence Officielle du Québec called the handling inappropriate and urged a review of protocols for vulnerable patients. Rael Charbonneau, a senior care specialist, warned that criminal measures could exacerbate health risks. Mark Fortin of the regroupement echoed those concerns, stressing the need for de-escalation strategies. Police confirmed the woman faced charges of assault, though they noted the investigation remains open. The case has reignited debate over how Alzheimer's patients are treated within Montreal's care facilities.
Home sales in the Montreal area fell 10% in July compared with a year earlier, the Quebec Real Estate Board reported Thursday. Despite the slowdown, average prices rose across every property category, underscoring a market still moving upward even as transaction volume contracts. The board attributes the decline to an adjustment phase, with buyers responding to higher borrowing costs and tighter inventory. Analysts note that the dip follows a string of strong price gains earlier in the year, suggesting demand is moderating while sellers hold firm on valuations. The trend marks the first double-digit monthly drop since the market tightened in early 2025, and it could signal a broader recalibration as the region balances affordability pressures with persistent price growth. Prospective buyers are reported to be exercising greater caution, extending their search periods while sellers maintain listing prices that reflect recent appreciation.
John Malkovich's 3 October 2026 performances of Their Master's Voice in Montreal, Toronto, and Ottawa have been cancelled. No further details are available at this time. Camille Dowsett has the full story.
3 scheduled performances of John Malkovich's new play, Their Master's Voice, have been called off across the country. In Montreal, the show was slated for the second weekend of October at the Théâtre du Nouveau Monde, while Toronto's production was set for the third weekend at the Royal Alexandra Theatre and Ottawa's at the National Arts Centre. Organizers announced the cancellations on Tuesday morning, citing undisclosed reasons. Ticket holders in each city have been notified that refunds will be processed through the original point of purchase. The abrupt change left fans in all 3 markets without the chance to see the actor's latest theatrical venture this fall, sparking a wave of disappointment on social media. Camille Dowsett, GMNA News, Montreal.
Quebec Provincial Police are investigating a homicide that occurred on Monday, August 3, in a private residence in Maniwaki. Authorities responded to the home after reports of a man's death and have since classified the case as a possible homicide. The victim's identity has not been disclosed pending notification of relatives. Investigators have secured the scene, collected forensic evidence, and are conducting interviews with neighbors and family members. Forensic teams have processed the interior of the house, and detectives are reviewing surveillance footage from nearby streets. No arrests have been announced, and police have not released details about a suspect or motive. The investigation remains ongoing, and officials have asked anyone with information to contact the Sûreté du Québec. Police have not indicated a timeline for further public updates. The case adds to a series of recent violent incidents under review by provincial law enforcement.
Up next, Quebec lettuce farmers are losing money as a U.S. outbreak halts sales. Plus more after the break. We will be right back.
Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news. Welcome back. Quebec lettuce growers are now operating at a loss after a cyclosporiasis outbreak in the United States has effectively halted cross-border sales. Roughly 50% of the province's lettuce harvest is normally shipped south, and the sudden suspension of orders has left farms struggling to cover production costs. The health scare, which continues to affect American consumers, has prompted retailers to suspend imports pending safety reviews. Producers say the abrupt drop in demand is forcing them to curtail planting cycles and consider alternative markets, while the province's agricultural board monitors the situation closely. Export-dependent growers warn that prolonged restrictions could ripple through the supply chain, threatening jobs in rural regions that rely on lettuce farming. Officials stress that the outbreak remains ongoing and that any resolution will depend on public health findings in the United States.
Quebec's chief coroner is urging the provincial government to adopt new safety measures on Highway 50 after ongoing concerns about accidents and infrastructure. The call comes on August 6, 2026. Camille Dowsett has the full story.
On Highway 50, the Quebec coroner is pressing the provincial government to roll out a series of safety upgrades after a string of incidents has kept the road in the spotlight. In a formal statement issued on August 6, 2026, the coroner outlined a checklist that includes additional lighting, reinforced guardrails, and more frequent patrols to address the chronic concerns that have plagued drivers for months. Officials from the Ministry of Transport have already signaled that they are reviewing the recommendations, citing budget constraints but acknowledging the urgency. Community groups along the corridor have echoed the call, pointing to recent collisions that have raised alarm among residents. The push for faster action comes as traffic volume continues to climb on the busy east-west route. Camille Dowsett, GMNA News, Montreal.
Lightning strikes ignited dozens of wildfires across Quebec last month, pushing the province's fire season well above normal levels. The Provincial Wildfire Protection Agency reported that more than 40% of all fires in July were sparked by lightning, a proportion far higher than typical. Officials said the sudden storms produced multiple simultaneous ignitions in remote forested areas, forcing crews to deploy hundreds of firefighters and aerial assets. By the end of the month, the agency had confirmed dozens of separate incidents, many of which required evacuations of nearby cabins and limited road access. The heightened activity has strained resources already stretched by a long dry spell, prompting a provincial review of response strategies. No major loss of life has been reported, but authorities continue to monitor hotspots as containment efforts progress.
Perfect conditions are set for tonight's Perseids meteor shower across Quebec. With a moonless sky, observers can expect a dark backdrop that will make the streaking meteors stand out. The annual Perseids, which reach their peak in mid-August, will be visible from early evening into the early hours. Astronomers say the lack of lunar light will boost visibility, allowing sky watchers to see more than usual. No special equipment is needed. A simple glance upward from a dark spot away from city lights will do. The show begins around 8 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time, which translates to the early morning hours locally, so those staying up late or heading out before dawn will have the best view. Expect dozens of bright fireballs crossing the heavens as the Earth sweeps through the comet's debris trail.
Sweet corn prices across Quebec have plunged this week, during the week of August 6 to 12, 2026, as ideal weather and a dip in United States demand drive costs to lows. Antin Prevost has the full story.
Sweet corn is trading at unusually low prices across the province this week, with vendors reporting rates that are a fraction of last month's levels. Farmers attribute the drop to a stretch of ideal weather that has delivered abundant yields, while market analysts point to a recent dip in demand from the United States as a further pressure point. The combination of plentiful harvests and weaker cross-border sales has left buyers snapping up the commodity at steep discounts. Local distributors say the trend is already influencing purchasing decisions for the upcoming harvest season as they adjust inventory plans to the new price reality. Antin Prevost, GMNA News, Montreal.
Now let's check the forecast and see what tonight's weather will bring for you.
A strengthening southwest jet stream squeezes the ridge, locking in dry, warm air for tonight and tomorrow. On this date, Montreal once baked to a record high of 32.2 Celsius back in 2022, a blistering spike that rode the tail of a lingering heat dome. The coldest mark fell to 13.2 Celsius in 2017, when an Arctic surge sliced through an otherwise mild September. By contrast, today's climatological normals sit around 27 for the high and 21 for the low. That puts tonight's 24 degrees comfortably between the extremes, reflecting a modestly warm night under a near-average pressure regime. The live radar canvas is entirely blank across southern Quebec, no rain bands or snow showers in sight. That emptiness stems from the high-pressure ridge that has been building as the jet stream streams swiftly from the southwest, steering any lingering moisture eastward out over the Atlantic. With the flow aloft locked in place, no precipitation is expected to tap Montreal tonight, and the clear skies will persist until the early hours. At 11, Montreal sits under a mostly clear sky with the thermometer reading 24 degrees, humidity hovering at 93%, and a light southerly breeze of 8 kilometers per hour, gusting to 19. Pressure is near average and beginning to rise, signaling drier, more stable air moving in behind the ridge. Overhead, the jet stream races at 90 kilometers per hour from the southwest, reinforcing the ridge and keeping moisture locked out. That same upper-level flow will keep temperatures modest through the night, allowing lows to settle around 21. Tomorrow's daytime high will climb to 29, driven by the same warm advection, while the UV index holds at 6. Winds stay below 25 kilometers per hour, and no weather alerts are in force. With the atmosphere holding steady, we now turn to the 5-day outlook. The coming 5 days remain anchored by the same high-pressure dome, but subtle shifts in the jet will introduce a few changes. Friday will see a high of 28 and a low of 21 under overcast skies as a thin cloud deck drifts in from the west, limiting sunshine. Saturday's temperatures dip to a high of 27 and a low of 22, with a 40% chance of rain as a shortwave trough nudges the jet southward, stirring modest showers. Sunday brightens, mainly clear with a high of 26 and a low of 20, though a 20% rain probability lingers in the afternoon. Monday brings light rain and a high of 25, low 20, as the trough deepens. Tuesday returns to mainly clear conditions, high 26, low 19, completing a week of modest temperature swings and scattered precipitation. And that's your weather. Remember, the wrap is also available as a podcast. Listen anytime on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts.
Coming up, traffic updates, tonight's lineup of shows, and a look at the Canadians' latest moves. Then back. We will be right back.
Every day, important stories happen across the city before any news crew arrives. Sometimes the very first person at the story is you. When you witness something newsworthy, open the GMNA Citizen Reporter app and start your report. The app guides you through every step while your report is delivered directly to the GMNA newsroom. Every submission is reviewed by our editorial team, and approved reports may be featured on GMNA. Get the GMNA Citizen Reporter app today at my.gmna.ca. Your city, your news.
And now here's Jason with sports.
The Canadiens are making moves and climbing rankings this August. Cole Caulfield is getting his flowers league-wide. NHL Network slots him 9th among all wingers, and that kind of recognition matters when Kent Hughes is trying to accelerate this rebuild. Patrick Lane's name is circulating as an affordable offensive ad, the kind of low-risk, high-upside move that fits a front office building toward a window. The Canadiens have locked up defenseman Maximilian Schuber on a 1-year, 2-way deal for 2026-2027. Schuber came over from Utah in the Joshua Roy trade, so this signing completes that transaction from the Canadiens' side. Two-way structure keeps the organization flexible. He'll have a path to Laval if needed. The Canadiens' prospect depth continues to take shape. In the latest top 25 under 25 breakdown, the middle tier features 3 players from this year's draft class alongside an equal number of new Laval Rocket additions, all unproven, but worth tracking as the organization's pipeline fills out heading into camp.
Welcome back. Director Jacob Tierney has asked the public to keep clear of filming sites as Season 2 of Heated Rivalry begins production in Montreal and Toronto August, citing safety and privacy for cast and crew. Simon Fortier has the full story.
Jacob Tierney has taken to social media this week, asking anyone who spots the Heated Rivalry set to give the crew room to work. Filming kicked off in August 2026, with cameras and lights already rolling on the second season split between Montreal and Toronto. Trucks line the streets and crew members direct traffic as sets go up. The director's message stresses that keeping a clear distance protects both safety and the privacy of the cast as they move between locations. Fans are reminded that the production schedule is tight and any interference could delay shooting. As the crew sets up in a downtown Montreal block, they've posted signs urging passersby to stay back until the scene wraps. Simon Fortier, GMNA News, Montreal.
Former Canadian soldier from Quebec, charged with facilitating a terrorist activity, has been removed from the Canadian Armed Forces. The case marks a significant development in national security. Elise Marchand has the full story.
Authorities confirmed that a former member of the Canadian Armed Forces has been stripped of his military status after being charged with facilitating a terrorist activity. The individual, a Quebec resident, faced the charge in 2025 and remained in the ranks until the matter was resolved this week. Military officials said the decision to remove him follows standard protocol when a service member is under a terrorism-related indictment. No further details about the alleged facilitation have been released, and the case remains under investigation by federal prosecutors. The former soldier's name has not been disclosed, and the armed forces have not indicated any impact on ongoing operations. That's the latest from the scene. Elise Marchand, GMNA News, Montreal.
Thank you, Montreal, for joining us on the wrap. Tonight's glimpse of perfect conditions for the 2026 Perseids meteor shower reminded us how bright our sky can be. We'll be back tomorrow with more stories that matter to you. Until then, stay safe and keep looking forward.